Okay, so here we are, Saturday, November the 23rd, 2024. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Just checked the thermometer in there in the barn. I got a thermometer in my barn. I don't know why, but it's in there. 49 degrees, brisk Saturday morning, and getting ready to mow with the old John Deere. What is that thing? It's a D160, DE160. What is it? Where's my insignia? Oh, there it is. Just a D160. D160 down there. I don't know how many. Well, the last 3 times I mowed grass, I said, well, this will be the last time this year. But we've gotten just enough rain, and we're still having warm enough days that fescue in the backyard is still growing. Now, grant you, it's spotty fescue, but it grows enough so that when the fur babies go out for their strolls, especially in the morning, they come back in wet up to their bellies. And inside dogs with long hair that come in wet, they stay wet for a while. So I'll mow it again. Little update. I went to see the neurosurgeon. I'm gonna have to do something different here. I'm gonna find some place to set this phone down so I can sit down and chat. I'll be right back. Okay, coming to you from deep inside the tractor lair. I had to come in here to get away from the wind noise outside. We got a nice little breeze blowing today, and it's blowing too hard to try to burn anything. Everything's plenty wet, but I've got some stuff I need to burn. One of my neighbors, just right over there, decided they'd dump all their shrubbery clippings on my property. And I went and had a chat with them, told them I didn't appreciate that. And I threw some of it back over, and I went there and checked the other day. They had moved it to a place on their property. So I got to get that stuff cleaned up and burnt. Now, granted, it's not a well-kept area. It's a wooded, natural blind, but, I don't particularly care for people dumping their trash on my property. I pay about $5,000 a year to live here. That's what my taxes are. And, I just don't like that. So I was going to try to burn that. Wind's blowing too much. To get down to the nitty-gritty of this video, I went last Monday and met with the neurologist about my cervical stenosis and bulging disc. I brought the MRI that Resurgence had done back in June, and Dr. Spitz was not impressed with the quality of that MRI. He asked me, he said, did we do this MRI? I said, no, sir, I brought that with me from Resurgence. He said, I want a new MRI. And I'm glad he said that, because the MRI is from June. And if things had changed in my neck in 6 months, I was going to encourage him to do it, because I met all my deductibles this year. So anyway, after reviewing the MRI and doing some, reflex tests on me, and then listening to my symptoms that I'm having, with the arm hurting so bad, he told me, he said, I'm not convinced that what I'm seeing in your neck is causing this. And I said, well, my neck has never hurt, and I've told every doctor that I've been to. So he agreed that, not agreed with me, but I agreed with him, but I'm not completely convinced all my issues are coming from my neck. So new MRI, he wants another epidural done by my pain doctor. He wants x-rays taken as well, looking down my head at my neck. And he told me, he said, I'm not going to discuss anything as far as surgery or treatments until I can see what I need to see. Thumbs up to that doctor. Because he could have very easily said, okay, yeah, you got a bulging disc, we need to go in there and do this, fuse, trim, cut, and send me on down the road. But I'm glad he didn't. So now I have been taking physical therapy, which is, this hurts. It hurts, physical therapy. And so when I went for physical therapy this week on Tuesday, I was telling my therapist about all my issues, and I also told her what the doctor said. And so after doing the rigmarole of silly little exercises, she laid me down and she said, we're going to do some nerve flossing, trying to stretch that nerve out. And people, that hurt. And she looked at me, she said, does this hurt? And I'm thinking, well, this is not a face on a man who's not in pain. I said, yeah, it hurts. And so she changed positions. Does that hurt? I said, yes, it does. So then she went around, I was laying out, she went around to behind me, and she took her hand and she placed it right on my collarbone and pushed towards my feet, very gently. And when I say gently, it's like, you're trying to push down a biscuit. The pain stopped. She said, does that do anything? I said, my hand stopped tingling. All right, she released it. She said, what about that? I said, it's tingling again. So she started just manipulating up here around my shoulder blade, my collarbone, and the pain would stop. And so she said, Jeff, I think you have a different condition here. I said, okay. She said, I think you have thoracic outlet syndrome. And I looked at her like, okay, what the heck's that? And she said, that's where the nerves that come out of your neck, they dip down below your collarbone, and then they run over here in close proximity to your collarbone and your number one rib, and then go down into your arm. She said, I think you have a compression in there, an impingement, what we used to call a pinched nerve. So, she worked on it some, and it felt good, while she was doing it. So I come home and told my wife, she tried to do it, but it didn't hurt, but I don't know if it did any good. So the next day I reached out, told my doctor, my pain doctor, about all this. So we're waiting now. I have a new MRI scheduled, and I'm waiting to hear from the pain doctor about a new epidural. So that's where we're at with this fiasco. It's right up there on the foo bar. Yeah. So don't know much more than I knew last week, but there's the update on my latest ailment. So I'm gonna get out here and get on the lawnmower and mow some grass now. I may give you an update on the pasture condition as well. Okay, so my main pasture is looking pretty well trimmed down. The goats have really worked on it. There is still, I'd say there's at least another week of grazing. Now they'll have to work for it. It's not, knee high. There's at least another week. Don't you go in that barn. There's nothing in there that could hurt them, but goats just don't need to be in that barn. So, there's a flat tire on old Blue. And if I catch one of y'all climbing on my lawnmower, look out. But yeah, to get back to the pasture, there's still grass left back here. That, of course, they're gonna have to work to get it. Like that black one down there, she's grazing in some decent grass, and I'm gonna say there's at least another week between this pasture and over there especially on the lower side of my barn. Now the goats are looking good. We don't have any malnutrition goats, and everybody's looking like they're healthy. And that white goat really thinking about climbing up on my tractor, my lawnmower. So that's where we stand here. Like right here, there's a good bit of grass. And then that green leaf right there, that's Creeping Charlie, and the goats will not eat it. People say goats will eat anything. They will not touch Creeping Charlie. Or at least mine ain't got hungry enough to do that yet. So that's where we stand in this little area. Okay, so here we are on the lower side of my little barn. And up through here, there's, like I said, there's about, I'm gonna say a week of forage left in here. But then over here, I'm gonna say this is, what, a third of an acre, maybe? I know it's not a quarter, but it's probably a third of an acre. And here's my deterrent for the electric fence. And it's working good so far. The only one I've seen over there is one of them little bitty brown ones, and they can walk under it. But I've got that energized string. I don't know, I can't remember what they exactly call it, but it's got a nylon cord through it, and it also has I think it's aluminum wire that's run through it as well, and it carries a pretty good jolt. And still got a full charge on my charger. But now over there is the next little area that I will turn them into. And there's a lot of grass down in there. At least a month worth of forage if I manage it right. And when I say manage it right, not just turn them in there and let them go willy-nilly out. I mean, right here we got, I mean, can't see my foot. There's a big clump, good fescue in here. And we also got a lot of broom straw down here. Now I mowed this back about a month ago when the broom straw was just about to get up to seed out, and knocked it down. Well, it's come back, which I figured as much, but I think we're due for some freezing temperatures next weekend, and so I think the broom straw will not have the opportunity to go to seed. Let's see, here's another area where I had a round bale there last year, and a lot of fescue grass here, some baby fescue grass popping up there. Got some of this foxtail stuff. It's not necessarily good for horses, but goats love it. And I mean, I want you to look how deep and thick that right there is. So like I said, if I manage it properly, I got at least a month of grazing in here. And then over here, where I'm teaching the goats to, you know, respect the wire. This is late winter grazing. And well, that is if I don't have to have some kind of surgery on my neck. But like I said, right now that doctor is not convinced that my problems are from my neck. So, you know, I figure I can utilize this area here for a good bit of forage. And then next year I'm gonna try I think I'm gonna try to pay somebody to come down here and finish the fence I started. So, but yeah, so that's where we're at with the pasture and my land management program. It's not government sponsored, but you know, and you know, if they keep kicking the can down the road, I'll also have to do some lime application again this spring, early spring, late winter, early spring. So yeah, that's and I might even use that electric fence to, you know, kind of put a border up in here that they really get used to being trained to the fence, and you know, do the managed grazing that way. So that's what the pasture looks like. So you can see this, and like I said, I know that foxtail is not good for some grazing, but the goats love it. And then you can see the difference right here from non-grazing to grazing, and that's just with old scrub goats. So Joe Salatin and Greg Judy and Stony Ridge Farmer, I've learned a lot watching them manage their grazing habits on their properties. There might be more, I'm not sure. Okay, next project, my Primark Feed 'em blackberries. Like I said, today is November the 23rd. These things still blooming. I actually picked the right blackberry off this thing, a week and a half ago. Now granted, it wasn't near as good as the one that come in during grazing season, but look at this. They just won't stop growing. I'm telling you, they're second cousin to kudzu. But what I'm gonna do, see, I wasn't thinking when I put these things out. To access the backyard, I gotta come through that gate. And so they come out 6 foot, and then if you're got anything behind you, you come real close. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take down this little piece and that little piece on the other end and extend it out this way. I mean, I've got some coming up from the roots right here that my wife weeded it down twice and they keep coming back. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of reorganization here on this thing. And then our loofah gourds didn't do too good this year. I think we may have put them out too late, and the soil that was in was bad. But we did end up with 3 decent sized ones, and I don't know. This is Christie's project. I think they got to start. Oh, there's one right there. I think they got to start getting light. That one's lighter, yeah. So that's where the loofah gourd crop went. Bust. So yeah, that's my next project. Do something with that blackberry trellis.
Still chewing. Take that out of your sister's mouth. Shelby, get it. Good girl. Bella.
Goats love bread.